because we're talking about the fact that the Kings are here. I mean, the 40 win mark, I guess we shouldn't really skip over that. Kind of a big deal. And
This last July,
we spoke to two of the three individuals that were outside the Chase Center this summer for the famous "We're Getting 40 Wins This Year" viral video. And Sean, one of those guys, made an interesting point on the podcast because we were just like, did that come off the top of your head? I don't remember exactly how we asked it. But he had like such a calculated answer, totally backed up by the fact that they hadn't won 40 games. He mentioned the last year under Jaeger as being so close and how that was just like, it felt like it it almost kind of amplified that benchmark because it was that Jaeger season was the one time in recent memory where the fan base was close to feeling, it was the closest they felt to what they're feeling now, I guess is one way to put it. And you could see it when they got the 40th win. It was a huge deal. It was big. All the journalists asking every player and coach about it. It's a huge deal. Do you have any comment on it? I think you do, on the 40th win, how big it is. I mean, it seems so benign, but it's packed with a lot of meaning for a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, as someone who's been watching this team for at least the last 20 years, and considering we haven't had a 40-win season since the last time we made the playoffs 16 seasons ago, it's just awesome, really. And it's like, the 40 is nice because it's like, I don't know. I guess it would feel a little different if we like barely got 40. It's like, oh my God, we got 40. But it's like, it's still a little different as in the sense it's like, well, like, why not 50 at this point, right? So, I mean, just like this, like the symbolism of the 40 and like, it's like, it just shows like this is a new team. This isn't the same Kings as the last 16 years. Like, we're on a new path. Like, in the 40 win benchmark just shows that right away. So, it kind of just shows that we're just not failures anymore. And that's just awesome. It's just something we haven't seen in forever. And it's just a measure that, or it's something that measures success, right? Wins. And you finally get to 40 after not having it forever. It just feels good. And it really shows the direction this franchise was headed in.
Mm-hmm. And I think you kind of hit on it there for a second, but the whole idea, it's like, well, why not 50? Well, it's like this whole team, you ask Mike Brown, it's like, I don't know, 40 wins? Like, I didn't come here to win 40 games. Like, I came here to do a lot more than that. And Harrison Barnes kind of said the same thing you just said. He was like, I mean, I always remember the Spurs went in their best years. Like, they were always getting 50 wins. Like, 50 is kind of the marker that really matters. So it's like, the 40 wins is like definitely nice for the fan base, but the team doesn't give a shit. I feel like that's great because that's how it should be. And they're never settling. And I think that's just kind of part of the environment that Mike Brown has built in that locker room and that Monte McNair has allowed him to build. So.
And I mean, Sean and Nadeem, they're awesome. But it's like, the 40 wouldn't be as big this year if it wasn't for that viral clip of them saying 40. And of course, 40 is amazing considering we haven't gotten 40 forever. But if they said the Kings are winning 50 this year, like the 50, we'd be waiting for the 50 benchmark even more than the 40 win. So I think that video really just amplified the 40 win mark. Because even if the Kings won 40 games this year on the dot, that's still a losing record, you know.
That's what everybody pointed out. Which is why,
which was funny, which made the video kind of funny, and people picked on it, right? But no, Sean gave a great answer. It's like, well, like 40 is a lot for a team that hasn't won 40 in 16 years. So It was just a good video overall, and it really amplified the 40 win mark.
Well, it's also illustrative of the fact that it's like it was ridiculed and laughed at, but it's just like nobody expected this because nobody was paying attention. I mean, like, you hear all these people that were just like, I was listening to something by Mark Stein's podcast, which we'll get to as another topic. But he was just mentioning how even when the trade went down last year with Halliburton and Sabonis, he's like, I thought that was the dumbest move ever. And it's just like, shows you what I know. And I just feel like that whole video of that being laughed at, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're at 40 wins and then some. It's just like, man, they were kind of sleeping on the Kings. And it's really illustrative of that because it's so funny and humorous. And then it's just like, oh, shit, look at these guys, And
it was funny because you had that, like everyone was ridiculing that. And then you had the Beam. I remember when the Beam got posted on Instagram that it was going to be lit after each game. It's like, so what? Like, the Kings can win. They can light it 17 times this year. So Kings just proven a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
It's been a great year. And that's what that 40 symbolizes, honestly.
Yeah. And it's interesting because even they've totally surpassed the national perspective or the national expectations. But even like on a local level, it's like, did we think that they could win like 42, 43 games? It's like, yeah, but it's like, you're talking about like 50's not out of the question. Being at the top of the conference right now, it's like, wouldn't have really have expected that. And of course, there's a lot of factors involved, but there's just so many layers to how special of a season this is for this organization.